What if you could find one quality or characteristic that would be the single greatest predictor of maturity? Meaning that people who have this quality are considered mature people, and people who don't have this quality have quite a few areas of immaturity. Think about the significance of this. Let's say you're a manager and you have to hire a high performing team. As you evaluate candidates, what if you could just evaluate one characteristic in the interview or application process? And this one characteristic would determine and predict the success of all those people that you're interviewing. Or let's say you're a parent and you're wanting your teenager to grow and develop in maturity. What if you could focus on one quality, and this one quality, as they developed it, would have a significant impact on so many other skills and characteristics? Or let's say that you personally want to develop your leadership skills and you don't know where to begin. What if you focused on one characteristic or quality, and that one characteristic would have more impact on your development as a leader than anything else? Think it's too good to be true? It's not. You see, about 2 years ago, I stumbled on the importance of maturity. During that season, the organization I was working for, we had quite a few full-time job openings. So my role was to be a part of the pre-screening process. I looked through applications, I read resumes, and then I did video interviews. And then afterwards, I sent a few recommendations to the hiring managers for them to make the final decision. So I conducted lots of interviews, read lots of applications, and in the end, we ended up filling all those positions. Now, like most of the time when you do hiring, especially in bulk, we had quite a few people we hired and they were successful. They're still with the organization and they are doing a great job. However, we had a few of those people that we hired who were utter failures. And to be honest with you, I was pretty frustrated during that time. Even though it was only a small percentage that didn't work out or are underperforming, I felt like we should have known. I felt like we should be able to minimize that percentage even more. So I started looking for something that would predict the success of those candidates. I reread my interviews, reread the applications and resumes, and I started looking to find a common bond between what did all the successful candidates that we end up hiring, what was it? And you know what I found out? I stumbled upon it. It's maturity. Everybody we hired during that time who's still with the organization and are overperforming, they have maturity. And everybody that we hired who either has left the organization or are underperforming, they have significant areas of immaturity. Maturity is the glue that holds their competency, the knowledge and skills to perform the job, together with their interpersonal skills, the ability to work with coworkers and be a contributing member of the organization and its culture. You see, maturity is what helps us fulfill or reach the potential of all those skills. And those people who were immature, they couldn't reach that potential that we saw during the interview process. So let's go back to my question that I asked you. If maturity is so important, then what's the single greatest predictor of maturity? Is there a characteristic or quality out there that could show us it? It's a difficult question to answer. Maybe if you try to answer it, you think about qualities like hard work, or maybe character, integrity, honesty. Maybe it's someone who has a selfless or servant attitude. I looked at all those qualities, and here's the problem. As I reviewed them, I thought about people I knew who had each of those qualities. And I definitely thought of people who are very, very mature. But on the other hand, I found people who had those qualities, and they had quite a few areas of immaturity. So I had to go back to the drawing board. And then I finally found it. The single greatest predictor to maturity is self-awareness. Here's why. Think about it. People who are self-aware by definition, they know themselves. They know their strengths, their weaknesses, and their blind spots, and they're working to improve in the latter two. Now, I'm not saying people who are self-aware don't have any areas of immaturity, but if you meet someone who is self-aware and you see an area of immaturity, the next time you meet with them, I can almost guarantee you, you will not notice that area of immaturity. they will have minimized it because they're constantly working to improve in their weaknesses and their blind spots. Now, here's the difficulty when it comes to the perceived simplicity of self-awareness. Everybody thinks they're self-aware. I have asked over the years so many aspiring leaders, are you self-aware? And guess what? 100% of the time, I always get the answer, yes, I'm self-aware. But you and I both know that as we interact with people on a regular basis, there are so many people we talk to who lack self-awareness. They don't know those things that they do that annoy other people, or those things that they do that distract from their leadership and influence. You see, the measure of self-awareness is not what the other person thinks in regards to are they self-aware. It's what the people around them think. It's their friends, their family, their coworkers, the people who know them best. Self-awareness is always confirmed by other people. So here's today's game plan. Let's test our level of self-awareness. Over the last few weeks, we've been talking about strengths and weaknesses. And in those sessions, I gave you the game plan to come up with your top 5 strengths or natural abilities and your top 3 weaknesses. I want you to go back to that list and review it. Then, here's what I want you to do. I want you to ask the people around you who are close to you, who know you the best, who have the boldness to tell you like it is and not what you want to hear. And here's what I want you to ask them. Ask them what they think your strengths and weaknesses are. Ask them how you come across to other people. Ask them if there's anything that you do that hurt or distract from your leadership and influence. Ask them what they think your blind spots are. Then afterwards, I want you to compare both lists. And guess what? Regardless of the results, it's a win. Let's say as you compare the list, you see that there is very little difference between how you see yourself and how the people around you see you. Then that's great. Congratulations. It means you have a decent level of self-awareness and a high level of maturity. Continue to work in those areas of weakness and blind spots. But let's say it's the opposite, which if I had to guess, for most of us, it probably will be. Let's say as you compare the list, there are significant areas of difference. There's like a Grand Canyon between how you perceive yourself and how other people perceive you. Don't get discouraged. I know it's hard to hear and to see that, but take comfort in this. At least you know now and not 5 years down the road, because now you can begin to work on those areas of weakness and those blind spots. That's why they call them blind spots. For most of us, we can't see them. But once we become aware of them, then we can create a plan to minimize those areas. Let me leave you with our tweetable lesson. It's by a mentor of mine, Craig Langemeyer, and he consistently told me, Shawn, you need to know who you are, be who you are, and enjoy who you are.